It's 2:00. It's First Amendment Friday, July 10th, 2020. Tom and Shane live on Facebook. If I don't bang my computer, make me bounce all over the place. Shane Matobin, half man, half amazing, is on the line with me from Vancouver, British Columbia. And, of course, well, me, my name was already up there. So, anyway, that's us, believe it or not. So, hey, happy to have you along with us. Yeah, and nobody's here yet. So, whoop, well, we finally got somebody. All right, people are starting to show up. All right, so, yeah, because it is Friday. Yep, the numbers are starting to rally up, Shane. So somebody's watching us out there. Bruce is here. All right, Bruce, there you go. Well, you were talking about your spring and summer in Vancouver, not doing well.
It's a dud.
Is it global warming or what?
I have no idea. It's the sands of Saudi Arabia. They went into the atmosphere, circulated the planet, and they're putting a chill and rain everywhere across the continent, which is true.
Yeah.
I mean, but two things that are fascinating.
This was a huge storm. I mean, they had this big cloud going across the Atlantic. I mean, come on.
Yeah, a lot of it ended up out in the Atlantic, and they thought we'd have 13 major hurricanes, and you just had a bunch of rain and a couple of storms.
Yeah, I think they've had 5 named storms, but nothing worth talking about. And Faye looks like it's not gonna hit land too badly. So
a lot of rain, but I think a lot of it, to be honest with you, has a lot to do with COVID-19 and the shutting down of the economies of the Northern Hemisphere. And Mother Earth cleaning up the atmosphere. And so, I think with all the obnoxious gases we're accused of releasing into the air, that, that puts a stall on it.
Yeah.
Creates problems. But once again, and not to be repetitive, this all started back in the early 70s with acid rain from all the coal plants in your country that was picking up a lot of soot. And drifted north into eastern Canada and caused havoc in the forests up there. And Nixon started the Environmental Protection Agency and cleaned up your coal, and now you burn the cleanest coal in the world. But of course, no one wants to pay in India or China for that technology, so they won't burn dirty coal. And India is now privatizing coal mining and to expand their coal needs, which is a bad thing because the coal they have over there is really bad, heavy coal, and very major. It's just a major mess for everybody.
Well, see, they haven't woke yet.
Well, they will, because all that that coal they're burning results in a lot of ash into the Pacific. And causes a lot of those cyclones. That's what creates the cyclones, because the water diminishing from the sea of the Pacific into the air picks up that ash, turns into cyclones. So it's
Why do they have cyclones in the Pacific and hurricanes in the Atlantic?
I think because they turn differently. They're counterclockwise. I think they're counterclockwise, and hurricanes are clockwise.
Do they spin different ways below the equator, like the water?
Yeah,
the
Pacific cyclone goes counterclockwise, to the left, and spinning to the left. Then the Atlantic hurricanes clockwise,
go to the right.
I think.
Yeah, it's like when you go to Australia and the water circles a drain in the wrong direction.
Speaking of Australia's had a major outbreak in Melbourne on the west coast. It's where my daughter
works.
So they've locked down Melbourne, literally locked it down. They've encircled it with the military, and they're not letting anyone in or out.
Wow.
So they got an angst towards any kind of breakout in that country.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that the president hasn't called for COVID jumpers. I thought that they'd expand on the smoke jumpers for forest fires, but anyway.
Well, they may have I guess it depends on where it is. I know, and there's Arizona and there's Florida and there's some of these other places. I think probably one of the reasons that they're not sending a full battalion of people in is the death rate hasn't been
No, it's collapsed.
hasn't
The
been
mortality rate now,
yeah
as we've
yeah
reported, it's now by the CDC, it's 0.145,
mm-hmm,
and H1N1 is 0.1. So
yeah
it's just a little bit higher than H1N1. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah
again, I want to repeat this because I've said it and we've talked about it for 5 months. 1.4 billion people, H1N1 in 2009, 500,000 deaths globally, and we went with the herd immunity. Didn't shut anything down,
no
and of course they kicked out vaccine for it, and
yeah. And we
it's
got
been around for
300,000 less deaths with this, but of course it's only been we've had 300,000 deaths in what 4 months 5 months I guess
where around the world, yeah,
yeah
with this one.
worldwide I mean yeah
But not anywhere near the infection.
no yeah
It's about what 6 million, I believe, the global infection.
yeah something like that so it was a lot
Yeah,
yeah
but not compared to not compared
hmm
to other ones. I mean, yeah,
no no
yeah. I watched CNN last night. They had the head of the CDC on, and boy, they grilled the heck out of that guy on CNN. Oh my
oh yeah
gosh,
yeah
they were ruthless, ruthless.
Tom
Called him out. They said he had failed everyone, and
yeah
you're the go-to for these situations, and you failed everybody. And yeah, he wasn't squirming. He went right at him with his
yeah
comments.
yeah
But
what would you have done if I had
well,
hindsight I'd do this too
they have to do that because they have to create cover for a lot of governors like
hmm
Pastor Como. Again, no outrage, and what he did was so
yeah
horrific.
I
And
know
even the
it's
governor in Wisconsin sending people back into care homes infected.
I
Like
know 6,000 or so,
he had
something
all
like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he had the tents. He had the tents in the Jacobs Center, and he had the ship there from the U.S. government, and he didn't even use them. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. It calls into judgment a lot of these things, and this whole thing with Mayor De Blasio. It's you look at the stuff we read, Tom, and it's not
Pretty scary.
good, boy.
It's really
It
scary.
is.
Yeah.
It
Well,
really is.
speaking of that, we had our new meeting today and we were talking about a lot of this stuff that's going on. And it seems that kneeling is now fashionable in the United States, Shane, that all these corporations, they're all bailing on Facebook. They're all going away. And
Hmm.
I just don't understand. I don't believe people are on Facebook and, they're typing away or they're reading the posts and everything. And all of a sudden they find a post that, well, gee, I don't like that post. Oh, look over on the right, Coke is advertising. I'm boycotting Coke.
Yeah.
People just don't think like that. I mean, they
No.
just
I,
don't.
you know, for my mental awareness, I play a game called Word Cookies. You just you try to figure out words, and
Yeah.
I do it for myself to wake my brain up in the morning. But you have to watch all these stupid commercials, right, to get free
Yeah.
coins so you can play the game. Because I'm not going to pay for it. Because
Well, yeah, you
that's how
can't
they
pay for it. Yeah.
buy coins. But
Yeah.
some of the ads are just you look at these ads and you go, you're really paying these guys to put this ad out, right?
Yeah.
And it's rather ironic because I don't I wonder how many of these corporations dump Facebook because they don't see any value in advertising on Facebook, and they didn't want to say that, right?
Well, maybe, but an awful lot of them had an excuse to bail out really, really quickly.
This
And the
good excuse to bail.
yeah, but the stock hasn't dropped all that much. That's stayed pretty stable. So I don't know, but
The market
I mean, all these. The NFL, caving, Washington Redskins caving, Cleveland Indians caving. I mean, come on, this is so ridiculous that I just I don't get it. If you have a good product, people are going to buy it. I mean, they just are.
Well, I just think that it's wrong too because 10 years ago the Redskins went through this and they redid their logo to make it look more appropriate and like an Indian.
Mm-hmm.
And they went across the country and they polled all the reservations and
Yeah.
78% of the Native Americans they polled liked it and wanted it and
Yeah. Nobody cared.
basically said
Yeah.
it's the only thing out there that it has a representation of us that people can see that we
Mhm.
exist.
Well, yeah. I was
So
going to say, if anything,
not,
they're doing
not
them. If anything, they're probably doing them a favor.
well, of course they are because it
Yeah.
it it consciously is there to remind everyone that you have Native American people that are out there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and yeah, I think this is as I say, colon cancer is ripe within the NFL now because of what he's done in the last 2 years to the
Mm-hmm.
brand.
Yeah.
And we've seen the golden age of football because my call this year is their numbers will drop even worse than they did in the last 2 years.
Well, I would think so. I mean, if they're going to start kneeling before games for the national anthem, if they're going to feel the need to play two anthems, I don't really believe in boycotting, companies. As I said,
No.
CNN's in the airport. I don't particularly like that, but I'm not going to stop flying.
Yeah,
Costco is a big Democrat donor. I'm not going to stop going to Costco. So,
that's right.
but I just, for these companies just to bend over backwards and cave to we are talking about a really small minority that's very vocal, Shane. We're not talking about
Right.
nationwide stuff. I mean, if you combine
Well,
all of
you
the,
you gotta look at, but you gotta look at the perspective of 2016. Come on,
well,
your
yeah, I
media.
guess so. Yeah.
What was it? The numbers were like 100 million in advertising for Trump because their ratings every time he was on radio or television,
Yeah.
their ratings through the roof, shows on
Yeah.
TV shows, went through the roof. And they all had him on. He'd go on any radio station, any
He would. Yeah.
television
He'd go
station,
on anywhere. Yeah.
he'd go on anywhere. And it's the same thing with Biden this year. You've talked to the issue about polling, and you and I go
Hmm.
back and forth about it. Right now, that clearly the woke media thinks that, well, gee, if we could get Trump elected, we could probably get Biden elected, and we'll see if that works. I personally, I don't
Yeah.
think so. I mean, this
Mhm.
last speech that he did, it was so funny. He
Oh,
started out
man.
and all you could hear were the birds chirping, and then it started raining, and it was raining so hard that the 20 people that he was speaking to, he said, "Oh, come forward,
Yeah,
don't
yeah. Is it
don't
rain out there, or I don't know what it is out there? So I
yeah,
don't know. Yeah, he's
yeah, it's a giggle, Tom.
it's
You know,
elder abuse, as you point out many
ah,
times. I mean, it just is. I really feel sorry for the guy, and that probably sounds partisan, but I mean, of all the people that were up there, um, that could have gotten the nomination. Um, almost any of them,
that's
um,
right. That's right.
would have been a better choice than Biden, and it's name recognition only. And I think a lot of people, and I was one of them, as you know, who thought Hillary was going to win because you get Bill back. And I think a lot of people think, well, if we elect Biden, all the great Obama stuff will come back. So,
Well, you've seen the policy they put out. We talked about it yesterday
oh yeah,
briefly, and look, the bottom line is this is a simple election. It really is.
it really
You get
is.
up
Yeah.
in the morning, if you shave or you're putting on makeup, you have to make a decision.
Yep.
Do I want to live in a socialist society that'll collapse, or do I want to live in a capitalist society that'll grow? And it really it isn't that more. It isn't more. It
Yeah.
isn't anything more than that
Yeah.
because he wants to wipe out the coal industry, the oil industry. He wants to enact the Green Plan. He wants to go back into TPP, the
Yeah.
Trans-Pacific Partnership.
Back in the
He wants to get
WHO.
rid of more.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of it. He wants to
Hmm.
open borders. He wants to allow 22 million, illegal people living in your country, illegally to vote, and this dynamic about Washington D.C. and wanting it to have
Well, and benefits to
statehood.
illegals too that we have to pay for. I mean, I really that's
Illegal or
one that
not,
I was going to say
illegal
that
or not.
that alone should be something that would turn your vote off. I think
Yeah.
there was somebody on Russia's show that called in today when I was driving to my meeting, and she said, I have to vote for Trump. There's no other option. And I think she's probably right. There isn't another. There's no
That's
Green
right.
Party.
Yeah.
There's no, Constitutional Party. There's no other party that's going to get enough votes to, to defeat anyone. So,
That's right.
you might as well,
And
live with it. That
e- even if you play the devil's advocate and worst case scenario, Biden gets elected, they win the Senate, they win the House. And if you look at if a person tells you who they are, which Biden has now with what he's released his policy, what he's going to do, you believe what he's going to do because he's put it out there, right?
I was going to say that alone ought to tell you that alone ought to tell you you're in trouble. Well, he said flat out, I'm raising the corporate rate 28%. Well, the 21% has made us more competitive in the world because we were the highest tax in the world at 35. So, I mean, come on.
And he's going, and not only is he's outright said he's going to raise taxes, he's said that he's going to tax corporations' offshore profits.
Yeah.
We're not going to let you hide those offshore. So if you don't repatriate them, we don't care. We'll tax them anyway. So there's no question that the whole issue of it is pretty serious. I was watching the BBC last night because England's now opening up and no longer having a 2-week restriction for people visiting because they want to save their tourism if they can for the rest of the summer. But the interesting aspect to it is that when you look at the global air industry, it's a mess, Tom. I mean, they're Air France is laying off 12,000 people. Emirates of United Emirates, one of the biggest in the world. They bought those 480s from from Europe.
wherever.
No, not Boeing. The one that is in Europe. Airbus. The 480 Airbus.
Airbus. Yeah.
438 people, and they're down to 5% as far as people flying in. Yeah, it's an amazing thing to watch on a global basis, and
I know
the overreaction by governments has been just cataclysmic. Yeah, I don't know what else. Well, I don't know what adjective to use. Cataclysmic is about as big as I can come up with.
Yeah, I would think so. Well, for Biden to stand up there and say, I'm going to raise the corporate tax rate to 28% because that'll generate billions and we can create jobs. Well, okay, by taxing the people who create the jobs, you're gonna create. What are they gonna do? I got to pay an extra 25 grand in taxes, so that's one person I'm gonna have to lay off.
And then he took credit. This was a great one. I don't know if you caught this one during the speech, but he said, when I first came in with Obama, I was in charge of the $68 billion for infrastructure. No, Joe, it was $685 billion.
Yeah.
And as we've reported to everyone and did on our other show and documented it, all they did is deposit in the different departments of the U.S. government.
Yeah.
Remember, shovel ready weren't shovel ready.
Yeah, they weren't quite shovel ready yet.
Yeah. For 8 years, it sat in all the departments. So, and we also covered this with the shutdown, 2 years ago, when that occurred, and we talked about it at the time when it happened, and said Trump didn't have a problem because every bank account in every department was
was
cash cash. So
To say they were
they could pay
hemorrhaging,
everybody.
they were hemorrhaging
Yeah,
cash.
they were hemorrhaging cash. But
Well,
of course, nobody talks about it, but we do.
yeah.
Thank gosh we're here.
Amen. Well, Connie gets it. You guys are good and nail it every day. Yes, we do, Connie. We are sure trying to. Linda says the Democrat Party is using Joe Biden. Joe wants to raise taxes. Can you believe that? I can't, man. I can't. Wow.
Yeah, and Thomas, we don't want to interrupt your driving, but
Yeah,
you can catch us later, and Tom will explain all that to you. How?
that's right. Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Yeah, you can catch us anytime because hey, we you know what we have we're on the air. Uh, well, we're going to be on the air tomorrow, 8 to 11.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's finally Friday. Tomorrow's
live.
Saturday.
Yeah, it'll be
Oh,
First
wow.
Amendment. Yeah, if we were still on the Monday through Friday, I think I'd make Friday First Amendment Friday because everybody could call in and get a chance to exercise your First Amendment right. Either call us, text us. So we'll have to have First Amendment Saturday, I guess, as we go along. So, but yeah,
Well,
we're
in
on
the
there.
past,
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
past, excuse me for interrupting, but
no,
in the past, it's been really amazing because this is always played as a good time because politically speaking, a good time to release stuff for the weekend is around when we have our show.
yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah.
it was good. It was a good time because there would be so many, major announcements or political announcements, or
Mhm.
like Trump is canceling his gathering in Maine because of the weather, and it's
Yeah,
raining,
New
raining and
Hampshire
wet. But
actually, but that's okay.
New Hampshire,
Who's
excuse me,
counting?
New
I mean,
Hampshire. Um,
you
no,
starting
you're
to
right.
sound like Biden.
Well, I apologize for that.
No, we
Everybody,
don't want to do
but
that.
that's,
Hey, and
but I, I
Tom.
I think
Yeah.
if I was Trump,
Mhm.
here's your two choices for a rally. Number one, pulls up an Air Force One at an airfield,
Yeah.
and they have this big, huge ramp instead of stairs that pushes up to Air Force One, and he opens the door and he comes out, and it's a stage, like with bulletproof black glass around it,
Yeah.
and he just stands right at the door of Air Force One and talks to the crowd that's in the
In the
airfield,
hangar.
so he could
Yeah.
100,000 no
Yeah.
outside,
Hmm.
and so he could talk to any size crowd right there from Air Force One.
Yeah.
And if he wants to walk down the stairs and shake some hands, he can, or he can turn around, go right back in. He's protected. He's
Yeah.
got the bulletproof glass in front of him, and he could have huge crowds. Or number two, like you just said, pull up an Air Force One, get out, walk into an air hangar like he did with his Trump plane,
Hmm.
and again, there's 10, 15,000 people in the hangar, but everyone's outside. And again, it's open, it's airfield, lots of security because it's an airport.
Yeah.
So, it just means to me that his campaign could look at two alternatives to it being inside that would be far greater for him and probably produce bigger crowds.
Could be. Yeah. Well, he's had to cancel the one in New Hampshire because it was outdoor, and with Faye coming
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
they're not sure what kind of weather they're going to get there. So it's more likely it's going to rain. So don't forget, you can listen to our previous shows at KMMSAM.com. You can listen to everything we do at KMMSAM.com. So just make that your homepage. And we're always there somewhere. So click on Tom and Shane's podcast, and you'll be able to hear every show we've done. And I should point out, Shane, let's see, let me go over here. We are just, where are we at? We are at, by advanced calculus, 63 downloads away from 5,000 downloads. Wow, 63 away. We'll have that easily by the end of the month.
But way before then.
Oh, yeah. Well, the other thing we got to talk about is the Biden debate. Is he or is he not going to debate Trump, or are his handlers going to allow him to debate Trump? I guess is the question. I can't believe.
No, but that's the question.
Yeah, it really is.
A call.
Yeah, I can't believe you can have a presidential race without debates. I mean, you somehow or other you've got to. He's going to have to do at least two.
Well, I think I think you should come on stage like some of those kids in the street do. Where they do double somersaults and down the street,
Breakdancing?
and not breakdancing, but double
Oh, okay. Yeah.
somersaults and everything, and then to the hat, to get a tip, right?
Yeah.
Because
Oh, yeah.
yeah, he's got to do something
Some kind of
really,
street performance he's got to put on.
yeah,
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Well, I think you heard, and for the benefit of anybody listening to us that didn't hear, Biden says, "Yeah, I'll do I'll do it if you release your tax returns." And what was the other one? I can't remember what the other one was. He wanted some other
COVID, the doctor, COVID. As long as the doctor says it's okay.
Well, no, it was something he demanded of Trump to do, and I don't remember.
Oh, that he wanted fact checkers. You want to have fact checkers.
That's right. Yeah, I want live fact checkers on the spot to interrupt Trump and say that's BS.
Yeah, or to review the debate afterwards.
Yeah,
and say this was untrue by Trump and this was untrue. The problem with having fact checkers with Biden is it's hard for them to understand what he's saying.
Well, that's what I'm going to say. How can you? Well, you just pointed out one earlier about the infrastructure of how many dollars he's going to do. So, are we going to? Is that going to be a hand raising? Excuse me, Joe. You blew that one.
Well, look, there's so many. I got to fix my other computer just in case you talk about the. Anyway, yeah, one of the things that amazes me is that, like, I can't imagine them not asking questions about China. Number one, in the debate, they will, and opening up Trump, asking about the 1.5 billion his son got from China, and commenting, explain to the people how you're not already owned by China. And I can't imagine Biden dodging it, and I can't imagine him answering it by saying, "Oh, well, they gave that to my son and not me." I mean, even if he admits it in any way,
I know. Yeah, there's kind of a thing here. Yeah. Well, and do you really believe in any debate, unless it's maybe unless they got a Fox moderator there, and maybe not even then? Do you really think?
Oh no,
do you think they're going to ask him about that? Do you think they would?
Oh no, Trump will bring it up. No, Trump will bring it up. He'll make a comment like something. The China will come up, but Trump will make a comment. It'll be like, you should already be in prison. Yeah. He'll already say you're already owned by the Chinese, 1.5 billion.
Yeah.
That's what he'll say. Yeah.
You think he'll use the Hillary line? You should be in jail.
Well,
that
he's a vice president.
I think that turned the election for him when he told Hillary on national TV she should be in jail.
Yeah, that won it.
Yeah, that's like Reagan saying, your youth and inexperience is not going to hold it against you. I don't know. Linda says, I hope Biden and Trump debate. I need to get a laugh. It sounds good.
Well,
to me.
I think another possible line that Trump will use, is, he'll suggest about Joe Biden. He said, I don't suggest you kneel for everyone today because I don't know if you can get up.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. But this kneeling crap is getting way out of control. There's a mayor in Montrose, Massachusetts, I believe, posted it on one of the Facebook pages. There's a police sign, one of those lit up signs that tell you that this road's going to be closed, in July 15th or whatever, something like that, So they got one of these signs that's got a message written on it, and it's got police underneath it, and it's something about drive safely, all lives matter. Well, the mayor apologized to the citizens for this sign. I mean, come on. You can't have a sign like this out there. Holy smokes. So the mayor...
Bruce is right. The woodshed. I can't wait for Biden, during the debate to turn to Trump and go, let's go out to the woodshed.
Yeah, let's go out behind the woodshed. I'll beat him up behind the gym.
And Trump's response would be, Are you sure you can make it that far on your
Yeah,
own,
yeah.
Joe?
Do you need some oxygen to get over there or what?
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe your wife can help you.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah,
But
I think actually Trump has to be real careful not to beride or berate or make him a victim or anything like
yeah,
that because
yeah,
of his.
yeah.
I
Hillary,
mean,
pretty hard to make Hillary a victim.
yeah, don't interrupt him if he's making a mistake.
Yeah,
But if he said something lame or
yeah,
like gibberish,
yeah.
I would surely expect Trump to look at him and say, what did you just say?
Yeah.
Could you say that again? Because I didn't quite catch what
Did
you
that make
just
any
said.
sense at all? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think what you said. I'm, or
Uh,
I could hear Trump saying to him because he has this habit now of saying all the things you're going to do, and you sit
yeah.
there and you go, it's already done. Trump's already done. So clearly he doesn't know what Trump's done. So I
Mm.
could see during the debate Biden making the mistake of saying, I'm going to do this, and Trump's going to go, it's already done.
Yeah. I already did that.
You
well,
know,
well, Trump's
I'm
talking
going to
today about
create
it plagiarizing everything.
Yeah, I'm going to bring back manufacturing jobs.
Yeah.
Biden already did that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Plus, I think
Yeah.
Didn't Biden have a history of plagiarism here and there, or plagiarizing
Oh, big
speeches,
time.
or plagiarizing
Yeah.
stuff in writings or whatever? Yeah, I think that was back
In
during the
in his
Obama days.
first,
They brought
uh,
that up.
yeah, right. Well, but way before that, in his
Yeah.
first run for president, he had to bow out because of the plagiarism that he used of a British speaker.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, verbatim, like word for word.
Yeah.
This was after
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It will
When you
be
look at,
entertaining. Yeah, if they have an hour
yeah,
and a half debate, man, that's not going to be good for Biden. Certainly, I don't think.
no, no. And the ratings will be huge.
Oh, they'll be huge. They'll be up the
Oh,
charts. Yeah.
it's
So
off the charts.
yeah, they should have it. They should have it at
Now,
Mount Rushmore.
yeah, yeah. No, I would. I'm gonna treat it like I only drink a few times a year because I figure if I'm going to drink, I want to sort of get drunk because I
Yeah.
really don't like drinking at all, quite honestly. But like the Super Bowl or my birthday
Yeah,
or
there
New
needs
Year's
to
or
be
whatever.
some. Yeah, there needs to be some excuse for it.
So instead of getting popcorn and a Coke, I'm
Yeah.
gonna pour myself. I'm gonna make a cheese board with some meat cuts, some salami and bologna and
The
cheese.
fifth of Jameson's, huh?
Sit there with a beer and a
Yeah.
scotch and just enjoy.
Yeah. Every time Biden says, "Okay, man, take a drink,"
Oh,
you won't make it till the end of the debate.
yeah, yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
man.
It's yeah. That malarkey tour reminded me of
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Bruce says he got
you,
kicked out of Princeton for plagiarism. Yeah. So,
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah.
he did also. Yeah, yeah. He's had. That's what I'm saying. I'm convinced now after everything I've seen in the last 3 months, in these urban cities and what's continuing to go on with the demonstrations and looting and burning. I'm convinced your call is right. They now are basically accepting that he's going to lose, and they're setting it up to claim that Trump stole it so they can deny the election.
Mhm.
And
Again.
then they can again, and then they can start in on Trump's this and that, whatever it'll be.
Yeah.
But more importantly, they'll spend their money on Senate seats and
Mhm.
congressional seats to either maintain the control of the House and try and pick up a couple of Senate seats because
Yeah.
govern.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they pretty well kissed Biden off as, we're not going to get the presidency, but let's make an all out full bore, to get the Senate. They may or may not hold the House. It depends. Yeah.
21 seats.
Yeah.
Right? Is that
Yeah. It's doable, certainly. Well, the other thing I wonder about too, Shane, is do these demonstrations and things like this for the we know this is a very small percentage of the black population, that most of the black population wants the same thing the white population wants. They want jobs, they want the kids to be safe, they want all this stuff. And I hope they wake up and realize what Trump told them before. What do you got to lose? you know so
Well, and not only that, but we've talked about it, and I sort of brought it up talking about Jamestown the other
yeah.
day. But
Mhm.
the Great Society created a generation of indentured servants of the Black American woman, and insisting, well, we'll provide for you if you have children. So, but you can't have a husband or
Yeah.
boyfriend in the house.
Yeah.
Well, the end result of that is, now you've got, that's gone on for 3 generations, or well, we're in the third
Hmm.
generation.
Yeah.
But the importance of that is single Black women that have relied on school so they can work because they have to, because
For
they can't
kids.
really live.
Yeah.
With 3, 4 kids, they don't get paid enough by the government to survive on.
Yeah.
But having said that, I just think that now, and I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. If I'm a suburban mom and we move to the suburbs to get out of the city, and I have a job which I've always wanted to, and my husband and I have a great home that we've always wanted, but it's a big mortgage and we both have to work to pay for it. And my kids are of age. We waited till they were of age to move out here, and I need them in school because I don't want to give up my job.
Hmm.
And now if they're told they got to give up their job, stay at home, teach their kids, or watch their kids, because they can't afford to have someone do that because they got this lifestyle they have.
Sure.
I just think that's tantamount to a prescription for the Democrats to lose their vote. I mean, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But if the schools aren't open, that's the October surprise, because I would suspect a lot of those suburban women, they're not going to vote for this policy and, this whole
Yeah.
shebang.
Well, that's why I say I think what you're talking about is exactly what would turn the local races around,
Yes,
because they're going to
I
look at
think so.
their state and they're going to look at whatever their governor's doing in the state. They're going to look at what their representative is doing in their district. And, they may say, hey, it's time for a change, man. And you may be exactly right that they may gravitate that way and think, I voted Democrat for 40 years, and what's it gotten me? Maybe it's time for
Well,
a change.
and one thing that we always talk about in your country, how politics is so local. So here's a big one. If teachers refuse to go in class
Yeah.
and start this process of online teaching, you're going to see a huge situation with school councils, or and property taxes issues.
Hmm.
I think a lot of people demand that by vote, by policy, or however, they're going to want their property taxes reduced and schools closed. Why? I mean,
Yeah.
why? You just finished building a gigantic, beautiful high school,
Yeah.
and can you imagine it not being open,
Yeah. If
Tom?
it's
I
empty,
mean,
yeah. What does that do for us? Yeah.
no, we, we,
Yeah.
we were on the radio 5 days a week for a year
Mm.
before coronavirus.
Yeah.
And there wasn't 2 or 3 days of the week that we didn't spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about that new high school in the Bozeman,
Oh, yeah.
and how to get in and out of it, and the concern about traffic, and
Hmm.
what's gonna
Oh, yeah.
happen, and this,
Mhm.
and now all of a sudden it isn't even gonna open. And I mean, didn't you spend like $20 million or
Oh,
more to
yeah.
build it, or
Plus, they're renovating the
$30 million?
old high school for another 20
And
million
they're
or so.
renovating it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So
Yeah.
yeah, folks, we've talked about this in
Hmm.
extensia with regard to what's going on in Bozeman. And the biggest laugh of all was Tom always commenting about, oh, here comes another tax. Oh, another
Yep.
pizza I can't.
Another
Another
pizza, another
pizza I
latte.
can't order.
Yeah. That's all it
Yeah,
is. Just
because
another
the
pizza, another latte.
yeah,
You won't miss it.
the commissioners, they commission. Oh, your property tax are only going to go up $6 a month.
Yeah.
Wait, that's my
Wait,
pizza.
I was going to say, yeah, I got to cut out pizza to pay that. So, yeah, that's
Yeah,
not good. I need my pizza. Come on.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're right. In
yeah,
fact, there was an article in the paper today about you probably saw about the high school is about it's getting close to being ready to open. So they got a couple more things to do and whatever. They're bringing in lime green furniture, Shane, to go with their blue and black school colors. So, I
well,
don't
I was
know.
watching CNN last night, and they had a news reporter going through a school. I won't mention the school to show it was in
Mhm.
New York City, and he said this is what they're proposing. With the spacing of the children. These kids aren't going to get sick, and they're not incubators of this virus, and this is all just crap. Okay, it's we how many years have we heard from the teachers union, I can't teach 35 kids, I can only
Mhm.
teach 16. Tom, I remember first grade with Mrs. Chestnut. There were 28 kids in school at Poly Drive in my
Mhm.
first grade class. Believe me, she taught us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this was that and the 3 foot yardstick.
I
Okay,
was
and
gonna
she
say
was
yeah,
like 4 foot nothing. Okay,
yeah,
like
yeah.
the yardstick was half as tall as she was, and it reached your desk. Okay,
back in those days, you couldn't say neener, neener, neener. You can't touch me. They pull you out of your chair and whack your ass.
you bet she did. Yeah,
Yes, they
and
will.
took great pleasure in doing it.
That's right. And everybody got the message. Ooh, okay. I
Yeah,
guess I better behave in here.
yeah, exactly.
So I don't know, but anyway,
I
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I agree with you. It's unfortunate. We talked about this the other day with Mike. That the government forces these women to work because as you rightly pointed out, you can't get a welfare benefit if you have a man in the house. So and we're
That's right.
so
Yeah,
there's no
indentured
excuse.
servant
Yeah,
to
there's
the
nothing to
government.
keep
Yeah.
the family together thanks to the government. So get out.
Mhm.
And if the woman stays home and raises the kids and doesn't work, which a lot of mothers did back in the day,
Mhm.
you unless you pay into Social Security, you don't get it, and unless you pay into Medicare, you don't get it. So
Yeah.
women are more or less out of self defense if they want to retire someday with. I don't advise you to retire only on Social Security. That's not much of a retirement, but certainly, it'll pay the mortgage. It might pay the groceries, some gas, whatever. But it's better than nothing. So
Well, exactly, and they're
yeah,
working.
and they're
I mean,
working.
the
Yeah.
most important
Yeah.
thing is they're working. You know, I I
Mhm.
I I don't de I don't I don't agree with, and from a personal experience, I don't agree with the fact that a mother shouldn't work, particularly once the children are in school.
Yeah.
Now, I
Sure.
had the benefit of the work I did, and my children born in 84 and 85, their mother never worked. Well,
Mhm.
to be honest, in hindsight, she should have,
Yeah.
because it created a lot of other problems for her.
Mhm.
And, in her neighborhoods with this indentured, mothers became addicts, either to alcohol or drugs, and they
Mhm.
had children from other men as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah.
And these are facts. I'm not making it up. I'm not
No.
deriding them. It's just
No.
what
I think
happened.
everybody's
So,
well aware of the circumstances that we find ourselves in, and I think one of the big problems that young people have who are just starting out in life, they're getting married, they're having kids or whatever. The educational system doesn't prepare them for handling money, or their parents don't
of
either.
course,
You know,
I mean, I was staggered to see one of the things in Biden's policy statement that this is what it says: no more homes, single
family
story
homes.
homes in single family homes in suburbs, because it's white privilege. It's prejudice.
Well, yeah.
What?
I mean, come on. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, you know how big the building industry in your country is for homes alone? Like,
I was
we're
gonna
talking
say,
like
yeah.
5% of the economy.
Isn't that
5%.
isn't
Like,
that isn't that the American dream? Home ownership.
It's a global dream.
I was gonna say, isn't that what everybody from everybody in the world wants? So
Well, yeah,
yeah.
and 68% of the
Yeah.
single family dwellings are in North America, Canada, and the United
I was
States.
gonna say,
In
where
the
else?
world.
Where
In
else?
the
Where else?
world.
Where else in the world can you afford a home?
That's right.
Other than here.
And that's why that gentleman from Denver yesterday, when he said, what do you think I should do? And I said, jump in $100,000 RV with the
Yeah.
extended living room and the extended dining
Yeah.
room, and you've got
Take off.
100,000
Yeah.
miles of shoreline, and go
Go for
find.
it.
I
Yeah.
you, even you, we've talked about you. You can go to Arizona, Texas. I
Yeah.
mean, we could name a dozen states right now,
Yeah.
and buy a beautifully new rancher
Mhm.
for less than 200 grand US,
Yeah.
and be in a nice tropical place that your kids and grandchildren would want a vacation at. Just
Well, yeah.
put in a swimming pool.
Well, I don't want to go someplace where anybody's going to come and visit. But anyway,
Well, you wouldn't,
no, I
but
would.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
people out there that have
Mhm.
grandkids, and
Yeah.
I mean, Denver's a great place. I grew up there, so I can't
Sure.
complain.
Yeah.
But it's very seasonal.
Yeah.
It's like where we are here. It's incredible. They get snow into April, May. But
Hmm.
I mean, you go to southern, the southeastern United States or the
Hmm.
southwestern. I mean,
Yeah.
South Carolina are beautiful states. I mean,
Oh yeah. No.
it's not expensive to live there. It's
No.
remarkable.
Yeah. No. Well, back in 1980, I quit my job, threw everything I owned in the car, had about $200 in my in my pocket, and headed out for San Diego. And
Yes,
I
sir.
went through Tucson. I really liked Tucson. I thought, well, if I can't make it in San Diego, I'll come back to Tucson. But
That's right.
the rest is history. Living in my car, panhandling for change until I finally got a job.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
And that's why we talk about the price of gas,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's 33% it produces 33% of the electricity on the grid.
Hmm.
And it's so important because a lot of these places we do
Yeah.
talk about, particularly tropical or dry southern climates,
Yeah.
they have to have air conditioning. So, we in the north, we
Yeah.
have to have heating,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
you know,
Oh, heating
and
oil
most
was
people,
such a big deal in the Northeast, as you remember, way
oh,
back. I mean, boy, the price of that was, talk about people needing heat or medicine. That was a decision they had to make back in the 70s and 80s.
well, and you and I 10 years ago, we were constantly, when we talk about the market on the show on Saturday, we were talking constantly about the price of heating oil,
Oh yeah,
particularly in the winter.
sure, yeah, yeah. Fortunately,
And
natural gas, propane, and everything's
that's
kind of
right.
helped out with that. But
That's right.
yeah, so yeah,
But all these things are of necessity. I mean, how are you going to heat the Northeast without an oil industry?
well, yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I was going to say that's uh,
heating oil is a byproduct of first diesel, second no,
uh-huh,
first jet fuel,
yeah,
second diesel, and then gasoline.
hmm,
Okay,
yeah,
so, and remember, 32 different grades of gasoline.
yeah, sure, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And the only thing left over,
everybody wants their own grade to save the planet. Oh my
and,
god.
and the only oil from after that refining is two: heating oil
Yeah,
and for lubrication.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
without lubrication, you have no ball bearings. Without ball bearings, you have no industry.
You have no
So,
bicycles for all you greeners out there. Yeah,
like the
better oil that
windmills.
bike
Remember?
chain once in a while.
I love your rant. We got to do that once a month to inform people what's involved
I
in
know.
building a windmill, right?
I was gonna say, what you you don't want shingles on your house, you don't want paint on the walls, you don't want carpet on the floor. Well,
Petrochemical, 90% of everything you walk through every day's got oil in it.
oil in it somewhere, that's for sure. James says, yeah, you could travel around the country, but not Bozeman. You don't want to come here. Yeah, find
Well,
somewhere, find somewhere else to go.
I think the biggest problem, of course, that you have, the same one we have here, and that's the restriction on allowing farmland to be used to build, to expand on, to
Hmm.
grow, right? There's a adverse desire to allow farmland in your valley to be built on.
Yeah.
And we have the same problem here, all the way from here to Abbotsford and up the valley,
Yeah.
down the coast. It's reasonable. It's understandable, and
Sure.
but makes a lot of people richer. I can
Yeah.
tell you that.
Well, in our area here, if someone has a farm and the kids don't want to take it over, and a lot of kids don't want to farm. They grew up in it,
No,
and
it's hard work, Tom. It's 5 in the
it
morning
is.
till
Yeah, it's hard physical labor. It's up at dawn, and you're working way past sundown, and so some of these folks, when they get ready to retire, they just, they sell the farm, and boom, it's commercialized, and that's
right.
how.
I mean, we talked about dairy farming, and you've got to milk those cows every 8 hours.
Yeah.
You have to.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you do.
Well,
Yeah.
That makes a
Mhm.
difficult lifestyle if you have
That's
to
right.
milk
Yeah.
cows.
Yeah.
It's not like your friend next door, Henry's got 600 acres of wheat.
Right.
Because in the winter he can go anywhere for 2 months.
Yeah. No problem. I'm out of here. Yeah.
God, I'm
right.
going to Hawaii, or I'm
That's
going to
it,
take
man.
my RV and go live in a trailer park in Arizona, right?
Yeah. Even if you don't have to milk them by hand anymore, you still got to milk them. Yeah.
Buy a machine and you got to hook them up, baby.
You got to hook them up,
That's
baby. Yep. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Come to Wisconsin, smell our dairy air. Yeah. That's an old
weird.
joke.
And it's a good one because
It's a good old joke.
So
Yeah, there you go. And it's true. Yeah. Well, I guess you saw de Blasio helping paint Black Lives Matter on New York streets. So what a jerk this
Fifth
guy is.
Avenue.
I mean, come
Fifth
on. Yeah.
Avenue.
I mean,
Well,
holy smokes.
it's branding. This is all about branding.
Yeah.
And we talk about it. It's so important because marketing is everything. Commercialization is everything for capitalism. When you destroy the brand of your city for people to come there, now you go from being the safest, largest city in the U.S. to a nightmare.
Yeah.
You go from the most popular tourist destination for shopping in the world. Oh, so now you're giving it up to London, Paris, Rome, Tokyo.
Yeah.
Not Hong Kong. Hong Kong's ruined.
Well, yeah.
By the way, Singapore is having a big election today. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll
That should be
report
interesting. Yeah. See how.
later the next week. But
Yeah, when
yeah,
when Tiffany's is boarded up, that doesn't send the message you really want to send about your city.
Fifth Avenue. On Fifth
Yeah.
Avenue, yeah.
I know, yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it's bad enough, the all the shows are shut down, and de
all
Blasio
of it.
says no big meetings anywhere. Well, except for the Black Lives demonstrations, of course. Those are just perfectly fine. Just go out there and demonstrate to your heart's content, folks. But and the other thing,
the other thing,
Yeah.
all these people they've allowed to demonstrate. Excuse me for a moment. I just want
That's
to
okay.
rant. That's real quick.
yeah, go ahead.
All these people that demonstrated and protested and burned and looted and all the other stuff. None of these people went to these areas of these cities. And when you're talking about Fifth Avenue and
Mhm.
and everything in New York City and the theaters and the shows and
Yeah.
the shopping, these are not people that were customers of those stores.
No.
Okay.
Well, only when
but
they
the
had
bottom line-
the looting sale were they
That's
customers.
right. But those stores
Yeah.
were the tax base for the city.
Oh yeah, sure.
So again,
Yeah.
the next 6 months are going to be interesting because
Well, it's okay. We'll cut
When
we'll cut the police force by $1 billion.
and the firemen, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and the teachers.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
cut the
that too.
teachers.
Yeah. Who needs these people? I mean, come on.
Okay.
I don't know, man. De Blasio just he's amazing. He go to Wikipedia and just read about this guy. You won't believe it.
Why?
I mean, Oh
and his
yeah,
wife.
the wife's even worse, than he is.
It's just cynical.
Oh,
I want to ask
oh
you
yeah,
this. Just we got to be cynical for a minute.
yeah.
Okay,
They
so
probably
we
yeah
talked about this story. We started talking about this story last December, where De Blasio hired his wife. She comes on the council, not on the council, but the council hires her to come into the Department of Education in the city of New York,
yeah
and she's going to set up, uh, 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 plans to help homeless education
right
and to help the homeless through the education budget. And she starts out with $400 million being granted by the city council, and by January of this year, it was up to $780 million. And at the council meeting at the end of January, just as this is all happening, she's asked what she's done with it, and she literally sits down and says to him, "I don't know where the money went."
yeah
So now it starts an investigation, and now they have cause with a grand jury charge her, and it was to go to court on the 5th of March. And I'm not making any of this up, because she's embezzled $780 million from this. This is the mayor's
yeah.
wife.
I know.
And we, to this day yet, because the courts are closed, we
Yeah.
still haven't heard about. Whoa.
Yeah.
And this guy has he's got the oranges yesterday to ask the president of the United States to give New York City $7.5 billion.
Yeah, we need the help here. So I know. What a jerk. I don't know.
I wish I was smart enough to write this stuff. Okay.
I wish I wish I was smart enough to be elected in New York City, because apparently you don't have to have much intelligence to do that. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm tall. I guess that's all you need.
Yeah, that's right. Apparently
That must be all there is. Yeah.
And on top of this, he changes his name because he has German ancestry. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
He doesn't want to be identified as a German.
That's
So
right. No, I can't have that. No. No, as I'm saying, yeah, head over to Wikipedia and just read about this guy. It's off the charts. Just he gives the liberalism a whole new definition, man. It's just incredible, the stuff that he's done over his career that is just off the charts. So I don't know.
That famous black senator from New Jersey, who became that slave.
Oh yeah,
from the Kirk Douglas film.
Mm-hmm.
He won his primary, and Cortez won her primary. So we'll see how they do in general. But Booker, I think, may have problems in New Jersey, because I just think a lot of this can turn badly against them with what's gone on.
Yeah, a lot of that, I think, in New Jersey, obviously that was. New Jersey is one of those states. It's like Ohio. It can swing either way. It really is. I mean, it's they had Christie, Republican, as their governor, and they've had Republicans, they've had Democrats. They're probably more traditionally a blue state than a red state, but as you point out, Booker didn't have the best race. The only thing he said is, why don't we stop attacking each other and attack Trump? That was the smartest thing he ever said in any of the debates, and it didn't get him anywhere.
And he didn't have a good shine on in the Kavanaugh thing. So
so unfortunately, people have really short memories. So we've still got 116 days till the election, and boy, a lot can happen in these. With the virus, with the Black Lives, with the kneeling, with the NFL, with baseball, with all this stuff here. And I think it all comes down to, when you step in that voting booth or sit at your kitchen table and fill out your absentee ballot, do you like what you see out the window?
I mean, it does come down to choices. Life is about choice. And one of the great freedoms that people have is the choices they make in life. And
Yeah.
good choices, good consequences, Eagle Man. Bad choices,
Bad choices, bad
bad
consequences. Yeah. Yeah. Bruce says Trump built Manhattan and cleaned up Central Park. Yeah. Well, certainly saved the roller or the rink across the street there, the whatever that skating rink is in New York. So, did I leave again or what? Oh, you're moving. Okay.
What's that?
I was talking about the skating rink across or the ice rink across, and I know you know the name of it. I couldn't think of it.
The one in Central Park, that
Yeah.
he rebuilt. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what
Under
the name.
budget and on time, and he's taken care of it ever since personally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know. So yeah, it's it's pretty amazing. And I only want to say this because I want the blowback. It's interesting how you get credit as a politician, and the perceived credit, the real credit, the denied credit, whatever you want to call it. The media has that job and that responsibility, and I just feel bad for the politicians out there, whether they're Democrat or Republican, that the media fails to want to show or give them credit for the good, because all they want to report is bad.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem I have with the Democrat Party, the demolition party, is this is bad, that's bad, we got to fix this, we got to fix that. And they spend so much time deriding everything. And it's interesting because you have the other side of the coin, and the Republicans, they'll say, well, okay, that's a problem, we have this solution, but we've also got this done and we've gotten that done. We wouldn't be here where we are if someone hadn't gotten something done right.
I know. Yeah.
And it's certainly not the politicians. And and now you have the demolition party going around saying, well, you didn't build this.
Yeah. Well, I'm
this
sorry
isn't because of you.
I'm sorry. I think you're.
Yeah, it's hard.
I know it's really hard to. I'm assuming the people on the left have they think, how in the world can those right wingers think like that? How can they think capitalism is good? How can they think that, how can they think that, Walmart is good or Costco's good or Boeing's good or, you name it is good.
Well, I raised my girls and I said, if you want to know about friends, it's one rule. Friends are happy for you.
Yeah.
Because there are two types of people in this world. There's givers and there's takers.
Yep.
So if you have givers that are friends, they'll be happy for you. And the same thing goes, in politics too. Yeah. And if the politicians you elect are givers and not takers, and like they give a lot of things that you ask for or request, then you got a golden stamp. But boy, you look at some of these politicians, and they're bad on. They're not just Democrats. They're
not. Yeah. No, there's people on both sides that are just, I don't know, man. They're well, as I've always said, friends walk in when everybody else is walking out. A friend is a gift you give yourself. So
that's exactly right. By choice.
By choice. Yeah. 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 You have a choice. You have a choice of who you like.
Can't choose your neighbors or your family. You can't choose your family.
That's for sure. You may not like them, but you can't choose them.
That's right.
All right, I think that's going to wrap it up for us today. Boy, it's been a great week, Shane. We've covered a lot of ground this week, man.
We have.
It's been pretty.
Tom and I are talking about finally Fridays like today of we're going to get on and bloviate about the week.
Just rant.
Stories that we talked about. Just rant.
Mm-hmm.
Clear everything up. So clear the week, clean the week up, and sort of give you some little tiny reminders to think about over the weekend with everything else you're going to learn.
That's for sure. And we'll do more of this tomorrow from 8 to 11 Mountain Daylight Time on KMMSAM.com. So don't forget, you will want to be in there. Let's see. What have you been smoking? Trump cleaned up the homeless veterans on Fifth Avenue because he didn't want to see them. Trump took out a full-page ad and called for the death penalty for the Central Park Five. Yeah, that's right. They were proven innocent later on, and Trump did that. Absolutely correct. Roger is absolutely right about that. So, all right. And don't forget, you can listen to any of our previous shows at KMMSAM.com. Of course, just make KMMSAM.com your page you open up to when you get there, and click on Tom and Shane's podcast or listen to our previous shows or whatever. And of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, please, for the love of God, subscribe and like us on YouTube and comment. Give us something, to work with there. So we really appreciate that if you would do that. And of course, as always, thanks for watching us. We really appreciate it. And well, Shane, for the final Friday of this week anyway, tell the folks goodbye.
I will be indeed. It's always my pleasure. Be happy, be safe, everyone. Live in the moment, live to work. God bless the people of Canada and the United States. And thank goodness we live in two of the greatest country clubs in the world.
Yes, we do. And that is for sure. Otherwise, without free speech and the First Amendment, you and I couldn't be here. So all views are welcome here. as usual. And hey, if you think it there's a pretty darn good chance we'll say it here. So we'll see everybody tomorrow on the radio and next week on YouTube and Facebook.